Basketball season is here. The Cavs tip off their 2024-2025 campaign tonight, and that means in less than an hour, we will have legitimate, real NBA action on our televisions. FanDuel Sports Network. Bye-bye, Bally's. Good riddance, even though it's the exact same app and the exact same people, which means it probably won't be any better. But we had to do a quick behind the glass because it's the opening of the season. Plus, we had some big Browns news, some big stadium news, and we did some charity work yesterday that we wanted to talk about because it was a blast. Earl the Pearl sitting with me. We got Anthony Antonelli behind the glass. And, guys, before we jump into it, how you guys doing at 9:01 on a Wednesday morning?
Accomplished. I think most of our work for this week, we completed the first couple of days of the week. So, days like this when you could just coast through the rest of it, get to it. It's a Cavs day. It's a beautiful day.
I can't believe he just said that because now three things are going to break between 9:01 and the show, and tomorrow we're going to have all Cavs graphics to make. So let's not get too ahead of our horses here, Earl. But, and how you doing, man?
I don't think I've slept a full night in 2 weeks, but I'm vibing. That charity event yesterday was so much fun. I had a great time.
I'll let you start. So we did the video come out on Friday. Mike Polk and his people shot it, so we're just waiting on the footage. But we went to the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Ohio yesterday. Played knockout with some kids that probably ranged from 8 to 13, 8 to 14, somewhere in that range, Ed?
At most. But, man, every kid, had a blast. They all had a smile on their face the whole time. And it was fun. It was we were there for 2 hours, if that.
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Everybody was super nice over there at the Boys and Girls Club. It was a good time. I got nothing but great things to say about it.
It's crazy how little effort you have to put into doing something to make someone else's day. And Earl, I know you weren't there. You're going to come next time we do it.
Yeah.
You had something yesterday going on. We played knockout for an hour and a half with these kids. G. Bush was just standing. First off, I thought G was going to break an ankle.
He knocked me out. I've never been more embarrassed.
What'd he say?
G knocked me out. I've never been more embarrassed in my life, honestly.
The floor was really slippery. You guys know G struggles with his health. And there were little kids all knee-high just running and bouncing off things. That was a torn ACL waiting to happen for G. He snuck out after the first game because he was like, I can't risk it. I can't risk it. I can't risk it. I can't risk it. There was one time a kid shot a ball and it missed badly and ricocheted. It hit his hat off. And I was like, G, this is dangerous for you. But G was just standing there telling kids, hey, shoot over me. These kids must have shot 3,000 jump shots trying to shoot over G if he was the biggest man in the world. And I'm telling you, it takes that much effort to put a smile on a kid's face, and it was well worth it.
Man, you already know my tagline, be great, spread love. Being great come with a price. Spreading love is priceless. And these, children in particular, man, all they want is somebody to make them smile, make them feel good about themselves, and things like that. So anytime you could take a small portion of your time throughout your day to help somebody else and to help make their day a little better, that's a dub. You never know what somebody else is going through and how that little moment can alter whatever was going on in their head. So shout out to y'all. I hate I missed it.
We'll do it again. So
I was doing things with my baby girl, but I definitely will be doing that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was the first of Polk's Celebrity Knockout series. So he's going to try getting other quote-unquote he called us because we were the easiest quote-unquote celebrities.
You dudes are celebrities, though.
He also didn't tell us that this was going to be a part of a package. When we got interviewed and everything, it was a whole production. Yeah. Real quick, Mike, before we get too far away from it, my favorite part about yesterday was when they were all taking jump shots over G. We basically had this group of kids as a team. Mike running drills, G and Mike coaching the kids up while Jason and I were rebounding, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, Jason, not necessarily a basketball player, love him. Knows how to cover, knows the game, not a player. And you made a couple. G did knock you out, but as a collective unit for UCSS, we got to work on our basketball acumen.
I hit more three-pointers than I could make layups yesterday. It was disgusting.
And
can he dribble?
A little bit.
If he could dribble, you already.
I didn't have to dribble though. It was knockout.
It was knockout. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of one-on-one. The kids challenged us all to one-on-ones, and I kept telling them they don't want it. I'm like, you don't want the smoke. Trust me.
You took it serious, didn't you?
No.
Mike was trying. Hold on. Mike was trying to miss. I watched him square his shoulders away from the basket, and he would still make it.
Oh yeah.
It was disrespectful. He knocked one kid out 3 times straight, and we just kept
Damn!
let him keep playing.
I didn't win. Listen.
We just let him keep playing.
I made it to the final 3. I wasn't gonna win, but you can't just let them have all
Mama mentality, huh?
Did I not make it entertaining at the end for the kids?
You did. The last two, I forget who won.
It was Sty and
not Destiny. Victory.
No, Victory came in second.
I don't remember who won.
I forget the first kid who won, but some of them could really shoot. It was a really good time. Speaking of shooting, the Cavs tip off their new season tonight. Kenny Atkinson era officially gets underway. We're going to see what Evan Mobley can do in this new look offense. How will Darius and Donovan play off each other? Can you play with two bigs? No Max Strus. Guys, there are a lot of storylines to follow. Mm-hmm. A lot of things to pay attention to when it comes to how the Cavs are going to approach this upcoming season. But, Earl, when you look at all the storylines, all the things, we're not going to get all the answers tonight. But what's one thing in particular you are completely locked into in this Cavs-Raptors matchup tonight to start the season?
Evan Mobley. Not only just this matchup, but pretty much every single game that the Cleveland Cavaliers play, my focus will be on Evan Mobley. I think, Kobe Altman came out and said it. The reason why Kenny Atkinson is here was to develop Evan Mobley. And I think most of us as Cavs fans believe that if Evan Mobley can ever reach his ceiling and become that player that he was always projected to be, then the Cavaliers will be a team that will be better than they are projected to be. You look at Mobley, what was it, 15-9 last year?
Give or take.
Give or take. Range, yeah. And so you look at that and he's capable of so much more. If somehow, some way we can get Evan Mobley to 20-10, 20-11 a night, then that makes a huge difference on how the Cavs is perceived and how teams are going to prepare. We know Donovan Mitchell is a killer, and we know what Jared Allen brings. This team has 4 players that's capable of being all-stars every single year. Of course, this is going to be a year that Darius looks to bounce back, but everything is going to start and end with Evan Mobley. Because if Evan Mobley can really just become that dude and I'll unlock that next level of skill set, then we're going to be looking at this team different all season long.
And what are you looking most forward to tonight in particular? Not necessarily season long, but tonight, what are you looking forward to?
I want to see Darius' first game back. When he said that he kind of lost the love of the game last year, and apparently it's back, but that's never an easy mental hurdle for anybody to get over, losing the love and passion for what you're doing every day. So I'm curious to see what he's going to look like season-wide, yeah. But to be a little bit different from Earl, I'm going to be watching him tonight and see how he kind of gets back into the groove of things.
Both great answers, probably the right 2 answers. For tonight in particular, I'm interested to see how Kenny Atkinson and this staff fill the minutes that Max Strus would have played had he been healthy, but he's obviously going to miss the first couple weeks of the season. Are we going to see Isaac Okoro? Will it be Jalen Tyson? Will it be Karis LeVert, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade? How do you rotate and shift to fill those 3 position minutes? Because if Dean Wade's going to start, you have no front court depth. You only have Niang and Thompson. Right. So how do you stagger Wade with then one big, but then does Wade have to stay on the second rotation? That'll be interesting. I think Jalen Tyson's a guy who's actually going to exceed a lot of expectations early. I think he gives you the best combination of size, strength, and offensive ability to kind of fill not the Max Strus role, but the theory of what Max Strus should be delivering from that 3 position. He can't come off screens and shoot to the same capacity Max Strus can, but he might be their best rebounding wing. He's strong enough to at least on paper physically match up with some of the bigger wings. I've mentioned this a couple times, but I had an NBA Western Conference coach tell me that he was the strongest guy they had in any draft workout.
Right.
He was that strong. He stood out. Zach Edey was 1, but Zach Edey weighs 300 pounds. It's tough to compare a guy that weighs 215. And then it was Jalen Tyson. So he can hold his own on the wing, and he's a little bit of a better offensive creator than a guy like Isaac Okoro. So is that the guy that Kenny trusts as a rookie to take some of those minutes and some of the offensive load off Donovan and Darius? He won't be the creator, but he can be the finisher, and I trust him more in that position already than I do Isaac Okoro. And then from a big picture standpoint, where around the horn, Ant, you're next on this. Looking at the Cavs from a big picture season outlook, how quickly the Cavs start to get into their offense is something that's going to be drastically different. And if you're not paying attention to it, you're going to notice it pretty quickly. The Cavs last year walked the ball. They played with one of the slowest paces in basketball. And when that first option offensively wasn't there, their default was, let's bring it back, run pick and roll. That gets pretty boring to watch, and it's pretty easy to defend. They're going to play with pace. They were top 10 in the NBA preseason pace, which is the preseason, whatever. But they're going to get an action. If that first action isn't there, guess what you can do because you got the ball 3 seconds quicker? Run a secondary action. And if you run secondary actions, that means Evan gets more shots. And that means Darius gets more shots. And that means Donovan could get more opportunities to attack 1-1 and Jalen. and Karras and Sam Merrill and Dean Wade, it just puts other guys in positions to score if that first option isn't there. So tonight, I want to see how Kenny handles the 3 and divvying up those minutes. Big picture, I want to see what this offensive system looks like and how much the increase in pace will allow the Cavs to get more high-quality looks throughout the course of the game.
Before we move on, back to Tyson. When we drafted Tyson, I think we didn't know much about him. And to hear him in this press conference, to see him really go through summer league and to go through the preseason, you did step back and kind of like, okay, damn, like this dude got more game than maybe what I gave him credit for. You did a great job of breaking down a lot of film, and he seems like he fits everything that Atkinson wants to do. He's strong enough, like you talked about. He's a guy that's a creator. He can play off ball. He can shoot, right, and he can get to the basket. The biggest Achilles heel, though, was his timing of his shot release. From what you've seen, like, has it sped up any from the time that he's been drafted and to this point right here?
I haven't. What did he take? 11 threes in preseason? Like, maybe. I haven't seen enough. I haven't been at practice. I'll do some digging. By the time tonight comes, I'll have a real answer for you. I'll text some guys and see if they think it's increased. But I've only seen preseason games, and in the limited preseason action he played, I don't have a good feel, to be honest with you, if it's quicker or slower.
I do want to see Darius. I know Darius had a tough year, and we clearly just seen last Sunday what our fans, or some of the fans, are capable of. And Darius took a beating from the fans last year, and he talked about just trying to, like, he heard the noise and he want to silence those critics. And I think with him, he looks bigger. Like he seems like to have his confidence level back, and we all know this is an all-star capable dude. So it'd be interesting to see him, especially going to Toronto, because I think 2 seasons ago when we opened up against Toronto, he suffered an eye injury.
Poked in the eye.
Yeah, that kind of kept him out for a while and put him behind an 8-ball. So it's kind of like returning to the scene of the crime, so to speak, and trying to get some type of redemption. So to Ant's point, I will be watching him as well and see what this looks like for him.
And you think they win tonight? Will the Cavs start the season 1-0?
Oh, yeah, we own Toronto. Oh. I don't even know who Toronto has on their team anymore.
Do you still?
We've always owned Toronto.
It was LeBronto, but now do you still own Toronto? Like, you don't have LeBron. Do you still
always
own
have.
Toronto? Okay.
Like Toronto, we've always beaten, if my memory serves me right, Earl.
Like, I mean, Toronto ain't. I'm not afraid of Toronto. Like, per FanDuel, shout out to our sponsor FanDuel, the Cavs are 6.5-point favorites. Yeah. Hey, real quick before we move on, I will give y'all my parlay in case y'all want to put this in. I got my Cavs parlay already.
While Earl's pulling it up, let me tell you my thoughts on tonight's game. Yeah, they damn well should beat Toronto. Toronto's supposed to be one of the worst teams in the East. The Cavs should compete for a top 3-4 seed in the Eastern Conference. I think the Cavs take the regular season incredibly serious for good measure, especially with the new offensive scheme and a new coaching staff that needs to win games. They made the play-in, then they made the playoffs, and they won a playoff series. They got to win 2 this year to continue that ascension. So, hell yeah. In Toronto, I'm not worried. It should be a good game, but give me the Cavs.
I think this should be easy money right here. It's a 5-leg parlay, easy money. Per FanDuel, the odds is plus 12-18. So I got Evan Mobley at 20 points tonight. Okay. I got Donovan Mitchell at 25 points. I think that's fair. Okay. I don't think nobody thinks that's crazy. Donovan Mitchell to hit 3 threes.
Okay.
I don't think that's outlandish. Darius Garland to hit 2. That shouldn't be.
Listen, they're going to shoot more threes. So if you want to get on the over threes for the Cavs, the volume's going to be there early.
And then finally, Jared Allen to record 8 rebounds. This is an easy 5-leg parlay.
There's no such thing as an easy 5-leg parlay.
This should be money.
But I like all those legs.
This should be money in the bank.
You want another bet? Look at first basket in tonight's game. What is Evan Mobley's odds on first basket in tonight's game? Because I'll tell you this. In the first preseason game.
Plus 220.
First basket?
Yeah.
I love that. That's worth a little sprinkle by itself, I'm telling y'all. In the first preseason game, they made it a point to get Evan the first shot. Kenny Atkinson has told me personally. He's told anyone with a microphone who asks, what have you brought here to do? It was to unlock Evan Mobley. Do you remember with the big 3, LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love, who got the first shot every game? It was K Love. I bet you Evan Mobley gets the first shot for the Cavs tonight. Or at least they run some sort of action for Evan Mobley. If he kicks it out, he kikes it out. But I'm putting money. I'll throw $10 on that.
I will too.
Little mini sprinkle.
Watch it be Jared Allen. Watch, Ant. Watch it be Jared Allen.
I'm literally loading up my FanDuel right now to put on $5 to that. So
yeah,
Mike,
plus
this is your
plus
5.
220. That's easy.
I listen. So $5. If you put it, you're gonna win 12. So, and you want $12? There you go. There's your $12.
Easy $12.
There's no such thing as easy betting. Gamble responsibly. If you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's talk a little Browns, guys. Jameis Winston has officially been named the starter this week. Jordan Schultz first reported the news. Diana Rossini confirmed it this morning. We talked about it on the show, which hasn't happened in real life yet, but when you're seeing this, it happened a few hours ago. The question I wanted to ask the panel, the question we did ask the panel was, can Jameis Winston be the 2024 version of Joe Flacco? Can he revitalize the offense in the same way Joe Flacco did last season? And I want to start with you. I'm just using arbitrary numbers here. Arbitrary. If the offense was a 0 before Joe Flacco came in last year and was a 10 at the end, where's the range of where you think Jameis Winston can take this offense from where it is, assuming it's at the same starting point at a 0, to where Jameis Winston can take this offense this year?
I don't think you guys are going to like me very much. If we're going on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say maybe a 5, 6 at best. There was just more to play for last year.
6 is pretty high, for the record.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll be okay. Like, it'll be more entertaining to watch than what we've gotten. Would be my lowest bar to set. I don't think the team has given up, but he's got less weapons now with Cooper gone. I'm starting to think I was wrong on Judy being able to be a number 1 when Cooper was gone. Elijah Moore, I have no faith in it at this point anymore. So, and there was just more to play for last year. When Joe set that fire under them, they were going to the playoffs. So I don't know if Jameis can set a playoff fire under them this year.
So Ant's out on Flacco. Earl, what say you? Out on Winston, excuse me.
It's tough. It's tough to answer because last year, like, the coaches that was in place, they had been there for 3-4 seasons, right? And it was Kevin Stefanski's offense. Like, Callahan isn't here, like Van Pelt isn't here, and so like the minutia or the nuance of the Brown staff is totally different. And the offense really didn't look that great after Deshaun Watson got hurt. Even with Nick Chubb back, the offense was still like, it was stagnant. You know, everything seemed to be safe and passive across the board. So it's really hard to answer. Like, if the Browns offense right now is at a 0, I mean, it's only up from here. I guess I would go with Ant, maybe 5, but it all depends on where they are as an organization, to be quite honest. Like, is Jameis Winston starting because, you know, they still believe, or they want to really go out here, rally the troops after what happened at the stadium last week and win some games? Or is this because that, like, DTR's finger he's hurt? You know, you look at everything that transpired, right? And we talked about this earlier this week. Is it the players versus the fans? And I think that this became much bigger than what a lot of people thought it was. Like, D.L. Hughley, you know, was on Instagram talking about this situation. LeBron tweeted about this situation. And because a few people amongst 70, 80,000 people, you know, chose to act the way that they did, like, the fact that the players went out there and spoke with so much passion, the way that they did, it magnitude the whole situation. So regardless if it was a few bad apples, because of the players having the passion that they had, this is going to always be looked at as a bunch of screaming folks, you know, cheering a player that was hurt. And so you ask, how does that galvanize the troops, right? When you go back in that locker room, we don't know if that locker room was broken or not, but I can only imagine if I'm a player and it feels like, okay, it's them against us, does that rally you emotionally to want to go out here, play hard, and win some games? And then if the Browns do go out here, play hard, and win some games, then long term, is that really a benefit for this team? Yeah. And so it's hard to answer it, but in all likelihood, he's a veteran. Jameis Winston is. He's been around for a long time. He has had some success. So, yeah, he'll elevate the offense, but it won't be much.
I can't believe that sitting next to a kid from Parma and a dude from Euclid.
I'm from Cleveland. I live in Euclid.
Okay, sorry, Cleveland. East side of Cleveland.
Yeah, east side of Cleveland.
Which Euclid's on the east side.
Yeah, but
okay, you live
he's learning.
Okay, rewind.
No, okay. I grew up on 148th and Lakeshore.
I'm sitting next to a kid from Parma and a dude from 148th and Lakeshore.
Yeah.
So which is why he can wear a St. Louis Cardinals hat and no one can say anything, because it's Lakeshore. I've learned that. I must be drunk on the Browns Kool-Aid because let me tell you, I think Jameis is going to revitalize this entire team. We're going to see, hands down, by far the best offensive performance we've seen this season from the Cleveland Browns. Now, granted, that bar is incredibly low. I mean, the best offensive performance is 20 points and 300 yards, essentially. It is not asking a lot. But hear me out. When Joe Flacco came in last year, Earl, I did a stream. I don't know if it was behind the glass, whatever it was. I was like, this dude's washed. He's got 80 throws in his arm. He's going to have one good game, and his arm's going to fall off. Jameis Winston, the last time he played meaningful NFL football, threw 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions before getting hurt for the New Orleans Saints. Jameis Winston came from a Jimbo Fisher offense. Now, I don't know a whole lot about what he did in Tampa Bay, but I know a whole lot about what Jimbo Fisher does because I covered him for 3.5 years in Texas. Do you know what the principles of his offense was?
What's that?
Play action. Setting up deep shots and taking what the defense gives you. What is Kevin Stefanski? If I'm going to ask you three principles of Kevin Stefanski's offense, what would you say those principles might be?
Up until this year, it was running the ball.
Scratch this year. This year, because I'm making
I know the point that you're trying to make, but if we were running Kevin's offense, quote unquote, you would run the ball, you would play action, and you would take what the defense give you.
I am convinced, and I do not have any inside sources. I am just going off pure gut conviction, which sometimes is very wrong. Earl's gut told him the Browns were going to make the AFC Championship game this year. He was wrong. I have said a lot of things from pure gut conviction that have been very wrong. But based off pure gut conviction, I think Kevin Stefanski, as soon as Deshaun got hurt, took all the nuances that they added to this playbook this offseason, threw him in a trash can and lit that mother you-know-what on fire, and said, guess what? He's not here anymore. It's a shame he got hurt. But now we can go back to exactly what I want to do with a quarterback that fits exactly how I want to play. It may not be a perfect marriage, but even in the one drive we saw from Jameis against Cincinnati, and granted Cincinnati was in a ton of prevent defense at that point. The game was out of hand. He converted a 3rd and 15. He converted a 3rd and 12. He converted a 3rd and 8 from the goal line. He stepped up in the pocket. He had incredible protection. The offensive line did a really good job giving him open pockets, and Jameis did something we hadn't seen Deshaun do. Look left. It's not there. Turn right. I showed you the play upstairs.
Yeah, the play to Tillman.
To Tillman on 3rd and 15 for a 25-yard gain. Stepped up in the pocket, delivered a strike. He was patient. I'm telling you guys, it would be the most Browns thing ever on Sunday to be an 11-point underdog at home and come out and beat what a lot of people consider the best team in the AFC right now. I'm not going to say they beat the Ravens. I'm not going that far yet. I may talk myself and drink a little more Kool-Aid, and come Sunday, I may be spewing that. But Jameis has all the physical attributes Joe Flacco does. Jameis has all the wonky creativity that Joe Flacco doesn't. And that could lead to some bad interceptions. I fully understand. But if it works, there's no reason Jameis can't throw for 325 and 2 tutties on Sunday. And I fully expect Jameis to take this offense with a healthier Nick Chubb. Notice that healthier, not healthy. Healthier. An offensive line that I think will appreciate knowing where the quarterback's going to be as opposed to the scramble drill that Deshaun runs. And weapons who are revitalized to what you said last week, or what you said earlier, were embarrassed on the field and by the actions of everyone else. It's going to galvanize together and give us something to actually cheer about on Sunday.
So, that's nice. I love the optimism.
I'm trying.
I'm sure you love the optimism as well. I'm glad you said that you flat out don't think the Browns is going to win. You watch murder documentaries and stuff like that, and you ever see the cases that it's a clear code case of murder, so the defense attorney is just trying to plea bargain down? Yeah. Like, that's where I'm at with the Browns, and that's where most of the fans are. It's not a matter of win or lose. Will you cover the spread or not?
Yeah, I did that.
That's where we are. Yeah. Will you cover the spread or not? Like, I mean, 14 points last week. We still haven't crossed that 20-point plateau. We did do a great job of finally getting over 300 yards. We had 336 total yards of offense. We passed for 259 yards, and we ran for 77 yards. So
that's all DTR.
And
the real running game.
What's crazy is, like I told you earlier this week, DTR came in, had 3 carries for 44 yards, and was the Browns' leading rusher.
Yeah, well, and he had 1 rush for 1 yard. He had really had 2 carries for 40-something yards.
Yeah,
that was
that was that. So I think, like, with Jameis, man, you will see, like, the offense pretty much be better than what it was. I'm hoping that Kevin does exactly what you say, like, to hell with everything I was doing before. I will say this. And it'll be interesting to see what Tyvus think about this. But, you know, the motion part of the offense seems to be like a base for most offenses in the NFL. I think in hindsight, what Kevin should have done is just kept his package in place and just added that one element to it. Instead of trying to create a brand new offense, just add certain elements to what you do already, because you can run motion off of play action, right? So it's.
I think you're trying to appease the quarterback. I think that's what the quarterback wanted. And then now the quarterback's not here, so scrap it all and go back to what you know. If you're gonna go down doing what you want.
Yeah.
Like if you have one last stream, Earl. Let's say you were leaving. You gotta talk about what the hell you want, not what someone tells you, right?
I don't know, because you don't want to burn that bridge. You might have to come back. So,
I guess fair enough. In that sense,
I don't want to get too far out there, but no, I would probably if I was leaving from sports to go do something else, I'll probably sit here and I would give you a heartfelt monologue about one of the best athletes who's never dribbled, caught a pass, or swung a bat, and that's Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And that's the most Earl thing of all time. And any thoughts on the Ravens game before we talk stadium and wrap up?
I hope Lamar wins me fantasy.
There you go. All right, Earl, very curious about this next topic from you. The city of Cleveland plans to fight back against the Browns' decision to move to Brook Park. Mm-hmm. And I'm not exactly sure the legal terminology, but they want to take him to court to try and enact part of the Art Modell and all that. But regardless of the specifics, they're going to continue to fight to keep the stadium downtown. I have a lot of thoughts on this, so I want to go last.
Okay.
Or I can start, and you can tell me what you think.
No, you can go last, because you said you was passionate about this.
I'll hold. You can start.
All right, so for me.
Thoughts on the city fighting back.
Let me pull up this tweet real quick, because I seen around the time that this news came out that the Browns had made their decision, I had seen something, I think it was on Instagram, about the city of Cleveland being awarded a certain amount of money. Here it is right here. Cleveland awarded $59.7 million for North Coast Connector project. This investment unlocks an exciting new future for Cleveland's lakefront and downtown. The Cleveland community and our visitors will have new access to Lake Erie, our greatest natural resource, and a better transportation network that will drive growth. I want to thank Mayor Bibb, County Executive Ronayne, and Cleveland's business community who all worked with us to support this project that will be transformational for all of us who call Cleveland home. This came from Senator Sherrod Brown. And so this is how I see it. To me, that was the first sign of the city having a true opportunity to really just develop the lakefront and develop downtown Cleveland, all Cleveland Browns aside. I'm somebody that was born and raised in the city of Cleveland, and I get how change can be difficult and uncomfortable for people, but give it a break. If you get money in to get the opportunities to do other things, then explore other options. Where the Browns currently play at, that's a prime piece of real estate. And you can put hotels, restaurants, casinos, or you can rebuild another major league stadium there. Now, the city of Cleveland already has funds set aside. A stadium is coming for a women's soccer team. But what about a major league men's soccer team, right? That can go right there, right? You could build a brand new stadium for, I don't know, an incoming NHL team. So you don't have to share that at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse for when the WNBA come back, and then there's 3 teams trying to play at the same time. So there's plenty of options that you can do. I think when you look short-sighted and you look at the immediate future or the immediate impact of the financial losses and things like that, I'm not saying those things are not valid, but if you really are somebody with vision and somebody that can get some stuff done, then you need to be a visionary and map out a plan and a project that will make the city of Cleveland thrive downtown, all Cleveland Browns aside. And I think Myles Garrett spoke to this point. Not all teams in the NFL or in sports period play in the base of downtown.
Most don't.
Most don't. So it's just because you are the Dallas Cowboys don't mean you can't go play in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah. Just
because you're the Cleveland Browns don't mean you can't go play in Brook Park. I've said this before. Most of us jump on the freeway and go to Brook Park to shop and eat. We go to Great Northern to shop and eat.
The New York Giants are in New Jersey.
I really look at this situation as this is just a larger, more expensive Pinecrest, Legacy Village, or Crocker Park.
Yeah.
That's what this is. You got an opportunity to do what you can do downtown Cleveland to make that scene better without the Brown Stadium being there. You got an opportunity to bring in another major sports franchise into your city. There's opportunities for growth and increase. You just can't be short-sighted about it.
Man, I don't know. I don't think it really matters if they're downtown, like you said, Earl. I think the city is more worried about losing a lot of the parking and restaurant income. Because we were there, Earl, like when nothing was on East 4th. Mm-hmm. Downtown was a ghost town. I don't know if I'd say it wasn't safe. I was too young. I didn't go down there. But there wasn't anything going on. When the Cavs had their revitalization, when they drafted LeBron, East 4th started getting built up. The Guardians/Indians started getting good. By 2016, it all culminated, and like downtown was the place to be. I think the city is worried about losing that. Whether the Browns are good or not, people go down there and watch them and pay the money to park and pay the money to go to the restaurants and everything. And the business owners down there need them down there. When it goes to Brook Park, I think there's going to be a significant loss in the downtown area, and we're going to feel it. Like we have to, as a city, have to make sure we go and support the other two teams and support downtown and support those businesses. And it sucks that it like falls on us, but if that's what happens, that's what's going to happen. Brook Park will be fine. Like Brook Park is a lot of nothing right now as someone who lives not far from it. There's nothing till you get to Great Northern. This will be great for Brook Park. Like this is a win for them no matter what if they go there. I think the city is scared of losing that income though, and I think none of us want downtown to go back to what it was before all that got built up.
Yeah, I can't speak to 2016 or whatever. I moved here in 2022. Let me start by saying this. I understand 1,000% why the city is going to the lengths it is to try and keep the Browns downtown. I 100% understand the financial impact. Mayor Bibb said $30 million a year that comes from the Browns being downtown. I understand all the reasons that the city would go to the lengths it's going to keep the Browns downtown. But the reality is, over the course of this whole saga, Earl, you've used some really good numbers and opened my eyes to the poverty levels in Cleveland, the needs this city has. When we've had Mayor Bibb on, Bull, Jay, they've all brought it up. The homeless rate. Cleveland's one of the most poverty-ridden cities in all of America. Do you know what it costs to now go fight the legal battle to try and keep the Browns downtown?
It's a lot of damn money.
It's Jimmy's decision at the end of the day. And if Jimmy figures out how to pay for a dome in Brook Park, and it's going to involve some money, whatever, it's his decision. And the city can spend all this money trying to fight to keep it downtown, but according to everything I've read, he's not leaving the county, so the Modell law is not really, it's not going to stop him. He bought the land in Brook Park. He owns that land. If he wants to build it, it's his team. And it feels like at this point the city trying to fight to keep the Browns downtown is like when your girlfriend breaks up with you, she's dating someone else now, and you keep sending love letters and flowers thinking like it may work, but just move on. Like there are so many other things this city needs that money could be used on as opposed to going to court and trying to fight some legal battle that you're eventually going to lose anyway. And I understand from Mayor Bibb's standpoint and the city's standpoint, like they need to show that they're doing everything physically possible to keep it downtown for saving grace and for, political reasons. I understand all of that. But whatever, I'm just going to use a fake number. Let's say it's $5 million that it would take in courts. I have no idea. It could be way more, way less. Put that to schools. Put that to roads. Put that to the homeless. And there are so many better uses of money than fighting a court battle that you know you're going to lose just to save face than what it actually could be used for. And I'm sick and tired of this back and forth, and it's going to be a power struggle. But at the end of the day, Jimmy's going to win. Accept it. Take it on the chin. You did what you could. Mayor Bibb and the city made a very generous offer to help refund the renovations downtown. As soon as Jimmy released the renderings of that dome, it was gone. It was over. There's no putting that back in the box. It was always going to Brook Park. And the sooner you accept that, and the sooner the city accepts that, they can start focusing on other ways to now improve the lakefront area, improve some of the other issues they have. You mentioned the grant they got for the lakefront development. It's a losing battle. And I can't believe we're going to sit here, and once again, I understand why they're doing it, but we're going to sit through this 2-year process of them trying to fight it, or year process, And we'll have to talk about it again and again when the outcome is inevitable. Jimmy's leaving. It is what it is. Use that money better.
I 1,000% agree with everything you just said. And it's funny because you already said they made a handsome offer to the Haslams. Okay, Jimmy's gone. So now take that money that you already had set aside and do something
something with it.
That's beneficial.
Yeah.
We work right here on Lakeside. If we come out our parking lot and we make a left, you have to go no less than a quarter mile down the street, and you see nothing but homeless people.
It's real sketchy
real
quick.
Like sitting outside. Like you said, it gets real sketchy real quick. And the interview he did right after this news came out, our station, Channel 3, WKYC, they shot it. And he said, Cleveland is a city on the rise, and businesses has already invested long term into making Cleveland become better. And so, depending on if you believe the numbers a lot or not, but I think a month or so ago, the stats that came out about Cleveland's murder rate being down, from years past. And that's another sign that Cleveland is on the rise. So to me, just keep building on the things that's really important. The nuances inside your city that's really important. We got some serious issues that we still need to overcome. And does it suck short term? Yeah, but I think a part of my frustration is, Mike, for real, a lot of people that's pissed off or complaining about it, most of them are just older people who are traditionalists and just don't want to see anything change. And then the other half of them are people who don't even live in the city of Cleveland or pay city of Cleveland taxes. And so you're making this big fuss about something that, in my opinion, don't ultimately impact you, because you might live in a surrounding suburb, not necessarily the inner city of Cleveland. Yeah. And so you worried about whatever the city is losing. Does that really impact you at the end of the day? Or are you just mad that the team that you love and always supported on the lakefront is just not on the lakefront no more?
It's valid. And I think a lot of people have that frustration because they've always been there.
Yeah.
And when something's been there and done the same way for decades, it's
hard to change. I haven't seen too many people who live within the inner city complain. I haven't seen too many people who are not season ticket holders complain. I haven't seen too many people who know for a fact they can't afford to go to a game and take they family to a game. I haven't seen those people complain. Those people have the sentiment of, who gives a shit? I couldn't afford to go to the stadium where it was anyway.
Yeah. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to be in Brook Park. So use that money, fix the schools, fix the roads, give meals. There's just so many other things the city needs that it kills me that we're going to spend, or the city's going to spend X amount of money fighting this battle that is an inevitable outcome that benefits literally nobody. Nobody benefits from a court battle. Nobody. No, tell me, am I wrong? Does any what's the?
Listen, I'd have been in court. I've worked in the courts, and I've been in the courts for some personal things. Nobody wins when the family feuds, man. Yeah, nobody. So
that's the perfect way to close it. Any final thoughts?
Steve Harvey wins when the family feuds. That's it.
Hey, shout out to Ray. I met at Red Robin.
Oh yeah, we got to mention this.
Hey, so I got to mention this, right? Yeah. It's so I met this I've been in like social media wars ever since Sunday, right? Bad job out of me for even engaging in that stuff. Go sit down and eat, and meet a guy named was Ray.
Shout out to Ray.
And Ray goes, fan of the show, but man, Earl of Pearl, I got to be honest with you. And I told Mike and Ann, I said, I think I have finally encountered the first dude from social media who's going to try me. And he says, huge fan of the show. I don't like Jay. Jay's too rich to relate to any of you all. I'm a bigger fan of the spinoffs than I am anything else. And he said this show, Behind the Glass, was his favorite.
Shout out
mainly because he felt like this is the most authentic show and that Ant gets his face seen and his voice heard. He said, my Ultimate 216 show is boring. Nobody wants to watch me by myself. He said, Tyvus and Dustin, they're born and they together. He says, you're too much of a numbers guy for him. You come off like a nerd, and G is too animated. This was some very, very healthy, constructive criticism. And I didn't disagree with anything he said.
When you told me that this morning, what did Nan say?
Read us like a book.
He hit it on the head. And it's so funny because I told him, I said, I tell my bosses and my co-producers all the time, I feel what you feel about my show. I express that myself. So, I like that. Shout out to you, man. We got to have him in studio one day.
Hey, we are not above criticism. We
No.
are not perfect. There are proper ways to have a conversation like that. Like, we're always open to constructive feedback and that kind of thing. So, Ray, shout out to you. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And guess what? I didn't use any numbers today for a reason. That's for you, Ray. We'll see you tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace.